Hi.
I'm Ayla. And I'm Sophie. Today we're interviewing popular poet Paula Green. Hi Paula, could you tell us why did you decide to become a poet?
Oh, what a good question to start with, and thanks. It's lovely to meet you all and lovely to be here. I think I didn't wake up one day and say I want to be a poet, but ever since I was a little girl I started writing poetry. So I think I've been writing since before I started school, and I think I've written all kinds of things, but poetry became my favourite thing, because for all kinds of reasons,
How does a poem begin for you?
A poem begins by something just kind of falling into my head usually. So it might be I see something, or I hear something, or something strange happens, and then I think I want to write a poem there. Or I've got favourite things, like I love writing poems about the moon. I love writing poems about our cats and our dog. But for my latest book, Groovy Fish, all the titles came from children around New Zealand. So I found myself having to write poems about things, and I'll tell you about it later when I see you in the big sessions. So I had to use children's titles. What goes on under the bed? Groovy fish, howling wolf. So often I just think, how am I going to write a poem about that? So it was really fun and kind of surprising, and it made me use my imagination a lot.
Who do you go to, or what do you do if you get stuck?
If I get stuck, I leave it. So I'm really lucky, I can just leave it and go back. And I find that if you leave something, like I love doing crosswords, and if I get stuck and I leave it and I go back to it, then it just pops into me instantly. And I love doing jigsaw puzzles. So if I'm stuck on a jigsaw puzzle, because I love doing really tricky big ones, if I leave it and go back a while later, it's just there. I just get it straight away. And that's like the poem. If I'm stuck on a word, if I just sit there and go, what word, nothing comes to me. But if I leave it and go and pull some weeds from the garden, or pat the dog, look at the sky, then the word just falls into my head.
What conditions help you to write a good poem?
I never know whether it's a good poem, but I like writing at home, because we live in the country and it's beautiful and it's quiet and there's lots of bush around, and I love writing there. But in fact, I can write anywhere, because I wrote a lot of poetry when my girls were little, and so I just could write anywhere, in the kitchen when it's noisy. So really, I like the fact that I can write on a train, on a plane, on a bus, in the garden, by the beach. I like to be able to write poetry anywhere. It's like a Dr. Seuss poem. I should write that. You've given me an idea for a poem. It's exciting.
What do you love most about writing poetry?
I love writing poetry because it is the playground. Right, so as far as I'm concerned, there are no rules. Poems can do anything, which is pretty good. So I like the way poems can make music, they can make your imagination leap, you can write about real things, you can write about feelings, you can do anything with a poem, you can tell a story with a poem, but it's just the fun place. So I think I've had fun with words since I was really little. Yeah.
Are you working on anything else?
I am, but I've just had 3 books published. So Groovy Fish, my children's book, and a big, huge book on women's poetry in New Zealand called Wild Honey, which took me 4 years to research and write. So it's a really big book. So I'm actually feeling quite tired. And because Wild Honey is a big book, I've been going out into the world doing lots of publicity, which is what you have to do as an author. And now I've got secret things in my head, and I usually keep my ideas secret for at least a year, and then I put them in my notebooks. I'm starting to put my secret ideas in notebooks for my next children's book, but I won't tell anyone about them till I'm writing them on my computer, because if I talk about them, it kind of weakens them, because I've used up all their magic in talking about them, and I want to use their magic in writing them.
What tips could you give me for writing a good poem?
Well, the first tip is to use your ears to listen to your poem, okay? And I, on my blog Poetry Box, where I post challenges every month and children from all around the country send me poems, I always say don't send me your poem the instant you finish it. So my tip is to listen to the lines, and you can hear when the poem sounds good and you can hear when the poem needs a bit of jiggling. And then I'm saying wait for at least a day and then read it again, listen to it before you send it and before you think it's finished. So you don't always have time to do that at school, but listening to a poem is a really good tip. And also testing things out, like have a little test pot. Have a test pot for similes. Which is your favourite simile for the moon? Try 5 similes for the moon and then pick your favourite one. Have a test pot for endings. Which is your favourite ending for your poem? Is it going to surprise the person who reads it, or make them laugh, or make them a bit sad? Or endings can do all kinds of things. So have test spots for the ending, for the beginning, for similes, for a start anyway. Yeah, and listen. Hope that helps.
How do you come up with the layout of some of your poems?
I actually don't know. It's kind of like a gut thing. I just write it. And I never think I'm going to lay it out like this. So sometimes my poems will have really short lines, like my Howling Wolf poem in Groovy Fish. It's really short. And then when I finished it, I thought it actually looks like a wolf standing up. I didn't mean to do it, but, sometimes they're really fat poems, like with big stomachs full of lots of words, and sometimes I have spaces in them or verses, but I don't know, I just do it. So, but I like to mix it up and try lots of different ways of putting the words on the paper so they look different. Yeah, it's a good question.
2017 was a huge year for you. Can you tell us about what happened?
I think that's when I got a phone call and I had to keep 2 big secrets. The first phone call was to say that I was going to get a medal and be admitted into the honours. It's like a Queen's Medal for my services to poetry and literature in New Zealand, which is really exciting. So I had to go to the Governor-General's house in Wellington, and I got a certificate signed by Queen Elizabeth congratulating me, and I went to this big ceremony and I've got given this beautiful medal which you only wear on special occasions. And the second one was I got another phone call to say that I'd won the Prime Minister's Award for Poetry, which meant I got to go to the Prime Minister's house in Wellington. It wasn't Jacinda then, it was the previous Prime Minister, Bill English, and I got to go there and I had to make a speech, and I got given a big cheque of money. So I got given a really big cheque of money which I could spend however I liked. So it was pretty exciting, and also it made me feel good that, I got these honours. It was very, very special. Yeah.
Thank you for answering our questions, Paula. We've really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, and it was lovely talking to you, and I'm really looking forward to spending a whole day with your school, so I'll get to see you again. And I thought those were fabulous questions. I loved the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.